Hi, it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular NEWSMAX Daily Podcast, a rundown of the day's top headlines and top highlights of NEWSMAX shows and interviews you may have missed, plus some sports, stock markets, and even some yucks, all packed into about 20 minutes. Search for the NEWSMAX Daily with me, Tony Marino, on your favorite podcast platform, and check out our entire lineup of great podcasts, including Greg Kelly, Rob Carson, and Jerry Callahan at newsmax.com/listen.
Now.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
What's the message to Iran?
Don't.
Mr. President, to Iran in this moment.
Don't.
I'm gonna bomb the shit out of them. It's true. I don't care. I don't care.
If you threaten Americans anywhere on Earth, we will hunt you down without apology and without hesitation.
Yes, we will.
And we will kill you.
Yeah, baby.
President Trump has also been very consistent.
Yes.
Crazy regimes like Iran, hell-bent on prophetic Islamist delusions, cannot have nuclear weapons.
Yeah, I've been saying that a long time.
It's common sense.
Yep.
Many have said it, but it takes guts to actually enforce it, and our president has guts.
Yeah, he does.
Turns out the regime who chanted death to America and death to Israel was gifted death from America and death from Israel.
There you go. Happy birthday, everybody. It's the Rob Carson Show.
Warned Iran that the nukes must end. My deadline for them I won't extend. Now they are under round-the-clock attack. No one had the Ayatollah's back.
Yeah.
F around and find out.
49 of them did.
They F'd around and found out.
Big time.
The Ayatollah found out. I mean business and I'll get my way.
Big time.
Against us they were plotting.
They were.
And look at what they've gotten.
Boom!
F around and find out. Their leadership, it will exist no more. You better surrender or you are through. Listen up, mullahs, I am warning you. 49 leaders you've already lost. You'll continue at a heavy cost.
Just lost more.
F around and find out.
They did.
Stick around and find out. Screw around and find out. Epic Fury's gonna do you in.
There you go. That is Jim Gossett as the President of the United States. And, of course, they got together today. I don't know if you knew about this. They got together to choose another great leader, and something bad happened.
But I'm told by a senior Israeli official that the Israelis just struck the Supreme Council gathering where the Iranians were meeting.
Okay, who's ready to choose the new leader?
To choose a new supreme leader. This is a significant development and again speaks to the Israeli intelligence about this war. They just targeted the meeting in Tehran where what's left of the leadership was gathering to choose.
But ain't a whole lot left now.
A new supreme leader. The Iranians are continuing their attacks against Israel. Right now we are in the community of Bnei Brak. It's a religious community outside of Tel Aviv. And you can see where the police and first responders say part of a cluster munition that was attached to the warhead of a ballistic missile slammed into this apartment block.
There you go. So here's what we got. We got day number 3 of the Operation Epic Fury. We had the Ayatollah killed like within 5 minutes of that, and then of course the Hezbollah leader in Beirut said, "Hey, we're in. We'll fight the infidel," and then he was blown up 10 minutes later. And so they're going to have another meeting to choose the new supreme leader, and boom, I'm thinking maybe the next choice is they're going to run an ad on LinkedIn. They're going to see if they can get somebody on LinkedIn. I don't even know if you'd want to do that at this point. I would not put my name on LinkedIn with anything like I want to be the supreme leader, because you're going to end up with a laser pointer, red dot right between your eyes. Oh my gosh, it is fantastic. And we're hearing from the media because Donald Trump is very unpopular, and this war is very unpopular. And only 21% of Americans support the United States initiating an attack on Iran. This according to the New York Times. The New York Times says it. 1 in 4 Americans support Trump's airstrikes in Iran. That's the UK Independent. Okay, The Hill. Just 1/4 of Americans back the United States strikes. Boy, it didn't take very long for those polls to come out, right? And then when you add up all the things that prove it's absolutely wrong, number one, our country always rallies behind our military when they kick ass. You know, there's that. They always do. I mean, did you see Top Gun 2, for God's sake? We just did it live, except for times 5,000. And we're kicking butt. And we support it. We were very in support of what happened in Venezuela. And you notice there weren't a lot of polling on that following the removal of Maduro faster than you could get your Uber Eats order. And now, of course, this, thus far, incredibly accurate, incredibly successful military campaign, ridding the world of 47 years of terror that has weighed heavy on the American minds and has left a body count in the thousands of American soldiers, and of course, many impacted by our campaigns in Iran, or I should say in Iraq and Afghanistan. They're all in for this. And then you add up also who's against this. They are wretched, awful people like Chris Murphy, Adam Schiff, John Brennan, the View cast. They're all against it. You tell me that if they're all against this, that America is all against it, you're out of your nut, and probably some of that sweet, sweet weed is available and legal in your state. Then, of course, you got the midterm polling, which now shows that the Democrats and the Republicans are tied 50-50. This according to a Harvard CAPS poll, which means that the Republicans are really ahead by 6 or 8. By the way, that's what that means, because the Republicans going into any election are always way behind, and now it's neck and neck. So the American people are going, yeah, we like it when America kicks butt, the economy's turning around, and Democrats are no longer in charge. So there's that. And then, of course, the fact that the Democrat Party has the lowest approval rating in recorded history, about the same as toenail fungus. You add it all together, and it doesn't add up to 21% approve of our attack on Iran. And then, of course, there's all that, that celebrating happening by the millions across the entire world and the United States. And then, of course, all those Persians out there celebrating Donald Trump. Yeah, sounds only like 21% to me. USA! 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 Yeah. USA! Donald Trump, we love you. We love you. Wow. We love you. We love you. Yeah, you see the Democrats on the left are freaking the hell out because Donald Trump has just won a very large portion of the Hispanic vote, and now 100% of the Persian vote. But it's only got a 21% approval. Yeah, I hate to tell you this. Americans love it when our military is given a directive and they perform it flawlessly. And by the way, for Matt Walsh and Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson, oh my God, what is wrong with you people? You don't even realize this is a completely different president than we've ever had. Okay? A completely different president than we've ever had. This man has taken time. He's been deliberate. He's taken months to get to this point. He has said again and again and again to the mullah, come to the table, let's discuss, get rid of your nuclear ambitions and all of this. And every single time the Ayatollah has said, screw you. And finally, as though no one expected this, Donald Trump moves a couple carrier strike groups within, plane shot of Iran. And by the way, a couple of B-12 or B-2 bombers flew from Whiteman Air Force Base. I think it's 36 hours round trip to bomb Iran and then fly back. So there was And broadcasting the entire world after getting Maduro, you better be ready because we're about to kick your butt. And the Ayatollah's like, no, screw you. We are Allahu Akbar and, all that crap. And guess what? Didn't work so well. But even old Rob Finnerty last night on Newsmax was talking about the difference. Pay attention if you're Matt Walsh. Pay attention if you're Megyn Kelly or you're Tucker Carlson.
and think about how American presidents have treated the Ayatollah for the last 40 years. Jimmy Carter, 52 Americans taken hostage 1979. Our policy, avoid and appease.
And play patty cakes.
That lasted 444 days.
It did.
Ronald Reagan, 220 Marines are killed by Iranian-backed terrorists in 1983 in Beirut. Our policy, avoid and appease. Bill Clinton, avoid and appease.
Oh, yeah.
George Bush, avoid
and appease is what
appease.
it was.
Barack Obama, definitely avoid, definitely appease, but also send Iran billions of dollars.
Lots of money,
on crates. We've got the photos. Joe Biden, well, Joe and Kamala, they definitely avoid and appease, but they didn't really have much
Joe peed his pants.
in Iran policy either.
Mr. Message to Iran in this moment.
Don't.
What's the message to Iran?
Don't.
As President Biden said, just don't.
Exactly.
Sure.
One word. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, terrifying.
Yeah, that really worked, Kamala. You guys are so tough.
I know.
Don't. Our official Iran policy for 4 years under Joe Biden.
Stop
One
it.
word.
Don't.
Avoid, appease, and of course,
don't.
And that is what you get when you elect a man with dementia, President of the United States. Jake?
Wow, he said the D word about Joe Biden. Holy hell. Yeah, that's the difference, you see. We've never also had a president that every branch of the government, every branch of the deep state tried to destroy, put him in jail, take away his fortune, take him off the ballot, impeach him twice, raid his home, and try to kill him twice. We've never had that either, so it should be telling you something, right? It should be maybe telling you that things are a little different now, and maybe we've got a guy in there who has our best interests and America's best interests in heart. That's really what it's all about. So as far as these polls are concerned, really bullcrap. At the bottom of the hour, by the way, to discuss this exactly is Blaine Holt. He's joining us today. Brigadier General Blaine Holt. We got a lot of audio from J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio and lots of thoughts on all of this. Your calls are welcome at 800-922-6680. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Little ditty about bombing Iran. Preemptive strikes was part of their plan. The Ayatollah is history. We'll get them all. Just you wait and see. Our military got orders from me, and we got help from our friend BB. Unlike Biden, I did not appease and let the Iranians do as they please. Hey Iran, you're gonna regret it. Killed your own people and we won't forget it. Oh yeah, life goes on long after the mullahs in Iran are gone. Deserved just what they got. Let's turn Iran into a parking lot. Little ditty about bombing Iran and putting their leaders in a trash can.
What now for us? Hillary's worry. We had to agree to testify. Comer had us over a barrel. Must say that he's a tenacious guy. If I tell the truth about Epstein, about each and every single teen. I'll go to jail. Hillary too. I don't know what I'm gonna do. What now for us? Now we have no choice but go to D.C. and testify. We have to lie.
All right, here we go.
The Rob Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to newsmax.com/listen for details.
Well, Michael, I think this is the second time this century that the United States has made a drastically bad mistake in terms of engaging in conflict in the Middle East. The first one was in 2003 when we invaded Iraq, and that ushered in then years and years of chaos and violence and terrorism. It gave birth to ISIS. And we're just getting over 20 years of that confusion and
well, if John Brennan says it, holy hell, you listen to John Brennan, even though he's been wrong about everything, and he also tried to destroy Donald Trump by working to promote the Russia collusion hoax, even though it had been misproven. They tried to do a coup d'etat, and he is under investigation right now. Yeah, believe him. It's a different ball game than what happened in 2003 with a different president who's broadcast to everybody. He's not going to put boots on the ground. There you go. That's the difference. Anyway, I'm just amazed, to be quite honest, as we witness what is the most historic thing to happen since the fall of the Berlin Wall, and all of the caterwauling and the bullcrap that is happening because people hate Donald Trump. That's really what it is. It is broadcasting this Trump derangement syndrome. NATO was broadcasting now. They're getting on board. France is getting on board. Canada is getting on board because they're realizing they're going to be left in the dustbin of history. They're going to be shown to be wrong. They want to get on the side of glory and peace and history as the Persian people walk free again. And no matter what the New York Times or these other idiot polling places say, that only 25% of us support this, they're going to be overrun by joy and patriotism. You also look at this. What did I tell you? What did I tell you guys? I told you we got to overwhelm the left with joy and patriotism. Didn't I say that? I said the affordability thing is going to go on by the wayside because things are more affordable, and Joe Biden's administration destroyed the economy, made our lives a living hell, caused grocery prices to go up 30-40%, doubled the price of homes, tripled the price of mortgage rates, doubled the price of cars. All of these things the Democrat Party and the liberal media could give a rip about. And now Donald Trump has ushered in a new era. Here's another thing that's different. We've always had to pay income taxes on Social Security. We've always had to pay taxes on tips. We've always had to pay taxes on overtime. Guess what? That doesn't exist anymore. George Bush isn't the president anymore. That old school way of going in and regime change is over. Donald Trump has offered it to the Persian people. He said, hey, here's the deal. We've given you an opportunity here. Go for it. We're not going to be on the ground. We're not going to set it up for you. You have the opportunity to do something. And here's Donald Trump talking about the objectives.
For almost 47 years, this regime has been attacking the United States and killing Americans. Every time you see someone with missing arms and legs or a face that's been absolutely shattered violently, it was almost certainly caused by an Iran roadside bomb.
Yeah.
They were put there by General Soleimani, who was
remember when he blew up Soleimani in that strike? I don't think he had to put boots on the ground then either.
The father of the roadside bomb. Very proudly, he thought, but I terminated him. And
he did.
My first term.
It was epic. Yeah, it was pretty
This
epic.
was our last best chance
Didn't even send a pallet of cash.
to strike what we're doing right now and eliminate the intolerable threats posed by this sick and sinister regime. And they are indeed sick and sinister.
Yeah, they've been sick and sinister. They've been sick and sinister for 47 bloody years. And guess what? We've got a guy in the office of the White House who finally did something about it. You want to keep it going? Do you want to keep it going? Should we just let him have another Ayatollah and take over? Should we do that? How many's up for that? How many think Iran's better off with that? Anybody out there, raise your hand. Go ahead, Dick Durbin. Go ahead and raise your hand there, John Brennan. You probably would because you're a communist. But that said, I said we've got to overwhelm the left with joy and patriotism, and this poll is showing it. This poll of 1,999 registered voters conducted online between February 25th and 26th, so it's probably gone up since then. 50% of Americans would vote for Republican candidates in their congressional district. 50% would vote for Democrats. This, of course, is a giant leap because Democrats were ahead by 8 late last month. There you go. Overwhelmed with joy and patriotism. You know what helped this poll a little bit? America kicking butt at the Olympics. That probably helped a little bit too. So we got the Olympics, we got us kicking Iran's butt, the people of Persia going free and all of that. All of these things absolutely amazing. Why would the polling numbers be so low on the war effort? Well, it's because they're not. There you go. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Again, nothing The View says is popular. Nothing that Adam Schiff promotes is popular. Nothing that John Brennan agrees with is popular. So I call absolute bullcrap. This is Greg Kelly. Now, notice on Newsmax, we have two Afghan and Iraq war veterans, heroes. One of them, Special Forces, Carl Higbie. My God, what a man, what an unbelievable human being. And both of these men speak from experience because they were on the ground. Carl Higbie kicking indoors and killing bad guys. Same go with Greg Kelly. Here's Greg Kelly with his thoughts on Donald Trump giving the mullah all the opportunity to turn things around, and he didn't do it.
This is not total war, but you don't want to be in Tehran, Iran right now.
No, you
They had plenty of chances to do the right thing. They did not avail themselves of lots of opportunities from the Trump administration, actually for decades. They continued to love terrorism and love nuclear weapons.
They did.
So we're punishing them and depriving them of their ballistic missile capability, of their nuclear capability, and hopefully as a byproduct we get some better people in there. So far, we estimate 4,000 missions flown against Iranian targets. And how many targets? Maybe 2,000. A lot of these are estimates, folks, because we have not, CENTCOM has been not exactly totally forthcoming with the info because I understand that. They're in the middle of the operation.
They are.
And they don't necessarily want the...
Did you hear that we sank the entire Iranian Navy? Did you know about that? We sank the entire Iranian Navy. Oh my God, it's so fantastic. They had this new carrier for drones, and they had it all rolled out and everything. I'm gonna play you the story a little while ago about that, but they had rolled that thing out. They said it was indestructible and all of this, and we took out their Navy in 2 days. I think they had 11 ships, and all of them now are going to be really, really fancy aquariums and great places to go scuba diving. That's what they are. That's their Navy right now. So there is that. But of course, the American people aren't behind this. Oh yeah, they are. Coming up in a couple of minutes, we're going to talk to Brigadier General Blaine Holt. He's a ex-C-17 commander. He wasn't on yesterday. He was supposed to be on yesterday. I thought maybe he might have re-enlisted. It wouldn't have surprised me one little bit. But apparently he was en route back to the States. So we'll talk to him on the other side of the break. And this is the Rob Carson Show.
With Epstein, I
often used to hang before I left his place. I went out with a bang, Jeffrey invited me, and I would go again, was in a hot tub on the island of sin. Hilary said it was philanthropy, that was her way of covering for me with stupid claims like that. We're never gonna win, was in a hot tub on the island of sin. You'd think my wife would be filled with rage because the gals down there, they were underage. You see, a caring spouse Hilary has never been, was in a hot tub on the island of sin.
I make the Democrats look incredibly dumb. Inflation is down, the economy's starting to hum. Still, it's a real good bet, the best is yet to come. Best is yet to come since we bombed Iran, taking out all their nukes, that was part of the plan. The border's secure once again, illegals are getting in. Doge has saved us billions, this is what it's like to win. Best is yet to come and it's gonna be fine. Best is yet to come, hear the Democrats whine. Listen to them whine. The last laugh is mine. The town of Portland I said in the guard, Antifa, they are gonna hit you hard. The Democrat mayor's getting in my way. Go ahead, punks, and make my day. F around and find out. F around and find out. Schumer's gonna find out. I mean business and I'll get my way. Pencil neck and Chris Ray, for your crimes you will pay. You have both been found out. Hope you get a lengthy prison stay. Listen up, Hamas, I am warning you. Break the ceasefire and you'll be through. Democrats, hang your head in shame. For the shutdown, you're gonna get the blame. F around and find out. Mess around and find out. F around and find out. In the end, I'm gonna win the day. Find out.
This has been one of the most dismal failures in American history in not dealing with the Iranian regime. In 1983, when Reagan was president, they dropped 2 embassies and a Marine barracks, over 300 dead. No retaliation against Iran. In 96, Khobar Towers, 19 dead, 400 wounded. Clinton is president, no retaliation against Iran. In 2005 to 2008 in Iraq, they used an advanced penetrator exclusively targeted against American soldiers riding in vehicles. The official count is 600 dead. The last commander we had there, General Lloyd Austin, said closer to 2,000, Jack. No retaliation. Bush is the president. Biden is president. Prior to October the 7th, they attack us 125 times inside of Iraq and Syria. No retaliation. After October the 7th, 125 times we are attacked in Iraq and Syria. No retaliation against Iran. This is finally ending.
Yeah. Finally, that is Jack Keane stating the obvious. After 47 years of nonsense, 6 presidents who've absolutely dropped the ball, it was time to have Iran's rear end kicked up between its shoulders. And our American military is doing a brilliant job of that. Joining us on the NEWSMAX hotline, retired Brigadier General Blaine Holt. How are you, my friend? Glad to hear you're back in the States. By the way, we had some money on whether you had re-enlisted. Can you owe me $5?
Yeah, I did try to change my identity to get back into pilot training, but they caught on to me.
Well, welcome back, man. I don't think I've ever seen somebody work harder on their vacation than you were.
Oh, man, what fun. America's kicking ass. This is so great.
I know.
The military, this is the thing, and here's the difference.
Yeah.
It's not just about having feckless presidents who get scared of mullahs. It's about more than that. It's about a president who understands what he wants to achieve, that it's going to take military involvement, and then he goes to the military, the experts, and he goes, look, you're the experts, you plan and execute it, I'm just telling you what I want.
Yeah.
All the other presidents bring their stupid Columbia and Georgetown grads who they stuck in the NSC because daddy was a donor, and they played with plastic soldiers and saw a few war movies.
Yeah.
Like Jake Sullivan, and then they want to pick the targets and they want to run the war. Well, that's not what President Trump does. What President Trump does is says, this is the outcome, go get there. And we are really good at that when you let us go do our job.
100%, and the rules of engagement are no longer what they were. You had military members, I'm sure, probably thousands lost their lives because they had their hands tied by people like Barack Obama, who have no freaking clue about anything, I should say, let alone military actions. But Donald Trump has a clear objective. A lot of people are still thinking that, it's going to be a George W. Bush, it's going to be a George H.W. Bush, it's going to be a Barack Obama, situation. But they don't realize that this man is completely different. And if you don't understand that, if you're Megyn Kelly or you're Matt Walsh or you're Tucker Carlson, I mean, honestly, Blaine, what the hell do you have to do to convince those people that this man is doing things differently and is changing the world?
He understands the politics. He understands the regional politics. And you're hearing a lot of people lose their way, people that I respect, losing their way. It could be folks in uniform who are saying, you can't do this without a massive invasion force of Army guys. Well, how did that work in Iraq and Afghanistan?
Yeah.
And then you've got guys who are like, well, of course, all we're doing is whatever Israel wants, and we're the pet of Israel. The president deeply understands Israeli politics. And if Bibi Netanyahu got everything he ever wanted from President Trump, we would have raised and vaporized that nation last June.
Yeah.
We didn't do that because American leadership is at the forefront here, and we're actually going towards where President Trump really wants to go, and that's the Abraham Accords, demilitarizing American foreign policy, getting to a peaceful region where we all have everybody with a mercantile or market stake in each other, and that's the path to peace.
The thing that I don't understand,
but
look at all that he's done. Look what he's done. He went after the Iran nuclear program. He took out Maduro. He is putting the heavy on China and on Russia. He is putting the heavy on Cuba. Cuba has no fuel left, by the way. So he's collapsing those regimes. He's also taking away China's war machine, the ability to fuel a war machine should they go into Taiwan. And yet you've still got people who say, oh yeah, here we go again, another never-ending conflict in the Middle East. And it's like, if you don't see the difference by now, honestly, sit back and just watch.
Well, I wrote an article about this today on NEWSMAX.com, and everything you're talking about is presented to the American people like it's all silos. Oh, he's getting us in all these spots all over the world, and he's getting us into all these entanglements. It's the opposite of that. There is a common denominator, and it's not talked about on the TV. It's called the City of London financialists, the ones who run the World Economic Forum, all the banksters, the ones who benefit from the laundering and the cartels. They always play both sides of these wars. They're always betting long on the defense industrial base when the wars get popped off. And President Trump is putting a fire blanket on that. He is putting a tourniquet on them. And this is what is in defense of free peoples, not just in our own nation, but everywhere. And look, we don't know what the outcome's going to be yet. The president is making the riskiest move in American history from our founding to now, I believe. Yeah. And it couldn't come at a better time on our 250th anniversary when most empires fail. We might be going through a renaissance, and I believe we're on that path.
Well, of course we are. And I've said this. I think that we had needed a baptism by fire to gut the deep state. We're in the middle of that. The America had become overtaken, I think, by evil, by graft, by corruption. And a lot of people are saying, well, Donald Trump only wants it because he wants to make money, and he wants this. He is the opposite of the military-industrial complex. The military-industrial complex made money hand over fist for 20 years in Afghanistan, and we had several presidents who kept us there with no mission objective whatsoever. How would you compare that to this?
I know it's night and day difference, but you're right. That's why none of those other wars, even with the world's most powerful military, went to a place called victory, because everybody with the suits on and the Ivy League educations wanted to pat you on the head and say it's more complicated than that. No, it's not more complicated than that.
Wow.
You've stolen well over $35 trillion from the American people through all of these little industrial complexes, and we've had it. Yes. And President Trump is doing what we asked, but here's the thing. We're not out of this yet. We're not out of this. This is just a very encouraging page in this fight, and we're going to get there.
Absolutely. Can you hold through the break, Blaine Holt? I've got many more questions I want to ask you on the other side of the break. By the way,
I'm at your service, sir.
Brother, I appreciate it. You've got this great piece, by the way, NEWSMAX.com. Always great material there. Pausing judgment on Israel-Iran wise for now. That is on NEWSMAX.com. General Blaine Holt will be back in a second. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
99.9 FM in Harford County.
Years of mission creep, 20 years of not having a clear objective, and 20 years of the United States trying to bring liberal democracy to Afghanistan. Iraq was a little bit shorter, but we were still in that country for nearly a decade with no clear mission, no clear definition. What's so different about this, Jesse, is that the president has clearly defined what he wants to accomplish, and there's just no way, I said this before the conflict started, I'll repeat it again, there's just no way that Donald Trump is going to allow this country to get into a multi-year conflict with no clear end in sight and no clear objective. What is different about President Trump, and it's frankly different about both Republicans and Democrats of the past, is that he's not going to let his country go to war unless there's a clearly defined objective.
Amen.
He's defined that objective as Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon and has to commit long-term to never trying to rebuild their nuclear capability. It's pretty clear, it's pretty simple, and I think that means that we're not going to get into the problems that we've had with Iraq and Afghanistan.
12 years into Afghanistan, Blaine Holt. What was the objective? 13 years into the Afghanistan conflict. What was the objective, Blaine Holt? Was there ever a damned objective before Joe Biden unceremoniously pulled this out and left $85 billion worth of weapons for the Taliban?
No, we took away the Taliban's ability to create terrorism in this nation within, a couple of months when the Northern Alliance, U.S. Special Forces, laid waste to the Taliban. All we needed to do was leave behind some calling cards and said, if you want to see worse, screw around with us again.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. There's this military-industrial complex, there's this war incorporated, and it becomes a machine and an industry, and it propagates this nonsense that we've got to put 150,000 down, spend $1 trillion to get the Taliban out of the 9th century and into the 10th century, and it'll cost us blood, treasure, PTSD, lost limbs, wrecked lives.
Oh, God.
And then you get with the Veteran Affairs organization who's like, well, this is just too much for us. In other words, if you can't afford the stupid war, don't fight it. Find another way. And that's what President Trump is doing. And so, no, this is not going to be another Iraq or Afghanistan. It's Iran. Here's your chance. Take it or leave it. It's up to you.
Yes.
But if anybody screws with us, then you're going to meet a few B-2s.
Yeah, and they have certainly. So how long do you think, yesterday, I've got to share this with you. Did you hear? So the Ayatollah was killed with 48 others, 2 hours into the strike. Okay, so he was killed. They get together, I guess, earlier today to choose a new Ayatollah, and in Israel, kill them all. It's just, it's spectacular. Do you think this is going to take longer or shorter than what they predict?
I think 4 to 5 weeks is good, because I think we're going to get to the messiness of the Kurds linking up with the revolutionaries, getting some folks armed and allowing them to get done what they need to get done. Probably, we don't want to hijack a revolution, and we certainly don't want to be stupid and pick their leader for them.
No.
But there's going to be some, hey, America, we really need a bomb over here at the Besiege headquarters. Could you do that? And it's like, yeah, no problem. Where is that B-52? Let it go. And so that type of work will happen. Secretary Rubio and President Trump are saying something awfully big is coming. I can only believe that probably means what's ever left of their nuclear ambitions are going to go up in ashes. That would mean Fordham, Pickaxe Mountain, and Nantuns. But look, it's on track. And where I start to get irritated is all these people back here at home that've got crocodile tears for drug runners out of Venezuela and wanted to see the Ayatollah go down a different way. And it's just sickening that we can't all get behind a president who is erasing existential threats from the face of the planet.
You know, I started the conversation with you online this morning with regard to these polls that are coming out that I mean, honestly, they're laughable. They're saying that the American people, particularly after the overwhelming success of the first 48 hours, only 25 or 21% of us are behind this action in Iran, even though we've known it's been coming for a couple of months now. I did a non-scientific poll online. 90% versus 10% say, hell yeah, it's about damn time. Do you believe any of these polls, who, by the way, are supported by people like Adam Schiff, Chris Murphy, and John Brennan, do you think they're anywhere close to reality?
Oh, so those three future defendants have as much credibility as the banana peel on my truck fork. Here's the thing is, I have never, in all of my history of being an airman and being around armed conflict, I've never seen this level of fake news, censorship,
yes,
fakes, propaganda, and the like. They have absolutely departed the truth. Why? Because the mainstream media and all of the people that have just absolutely raped our country for corruption, theft, blackmail, extortion, you name it. It's get Trump at all costs. They could care less what the truth is.
Well, you remember.
Go
ahead. Finish.
The fact of the matter is the American people are absolutely ecstatic that we're not going to have an Iran that's going to be able to tag the United States with a nuclear weapon.
Well, you know, Dick Durbin, when we were in harm's way in Iraq, said that the mission was already lost. Remember when he said that? You remember what he said? It took less than 24 hours to people like Chris Murphy to call this disastrous. I swear to God, you start trashing the mission. Have you heard anything, Blaine Holt, have you heard any positive from Democrats about the performance of our military right now in Iran?
Yes.
Who?
John Fetterman. That
Oh, well, there
Democrat.
you go. There you go.
He's the only real one. And
I know.
He was like, yeah, it sounds like a good idea to take a real bad guy out of here.
Yeah, and you know, even Mark Carney in Canada is now on board, and the Democrat Party, they have TDS so badly that they're willing to demean the powerful and brilliant execution of a plan and an order in a fashion that we haven't seen in a very long time. Blaine Holt, your piece is called Pausing Judgment on Israel-Iran, Wise for Now. It is on NEWSMAX.com. Brother, I appreciate your time more than you'll ever know, and I know in a couple of weeks we're going to be celebrating a new world. We really are. We're already there, by the way.
We're on our right path, brother, and amen, and God bless our nation.
All right, we'll talk again soon. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Hello, everybody. Dick Durbin, I know. Remember when Rush used to call him that? They started demeaning that. How about Jane Fonda? Yeah, Jane Fonda is not down with this. Okay, sure, the American people are down. Right. Becca Naughtonberry, how are you? And Navy DJ86, what up? You guys could call me DJ. You're new. Welcome, DJ. Welcome, DJ. I used to be a DJ. I used to be a music radio personality. A couple of B2s came from South Dakota. That's right. That's right, they did. They flew all the way from South Dakota nonstop, baby. Anyway, welcome. Oh, haven't seen your name here before. Gutfeld's manwife. Who's Gutfeld's manwife? I love that. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining in. We've got a lot of new names watching, streaming today, so I think that's great. Blockbuster 2K, I've seen you here before. And I know a lot of you have been talking together over on the Rumbly-Roo today, and we as always, we've got these great groups of people who've come together every day and gotten to know each other, and today we had the death of a beloved pet that we were talking about, and I was mentioning that it's so nice to have a group of people who can come together, even if we don't know each other per se. We can come together and in thought, and I'm trying to just be together in this historic time. Be there for one another. I think that's pretty important, right? Don't you? I think it's pretty important. So glad to have you here. Hello, Twitter watchers. Love you guys, and you Facebook viewers as well. So glad to have you checking out the show today. There are many, many, many of all of you. Here we go.
Get about 350 here.
There absolutely was an imminent threat, and the imminent threat was that we knew that if Iran was attacked, and we believed they would be attacked, that they would immediately come after us. And we were not going to sit there and absorb a blow before we responded, because the Department of War assessed that if we did that, if we waited for them to hit us first after they were attacked, and by someone else, Israel attacked them, they hit us first, and we waited for them to hit us, we would suffer more casualties and more deaths. We went proactively in a defensive way to prevent them from inflicting...
And you know how we knew we were going to be attacked? Because they tried to attack us 180 times the last 2 years, but we've repelled all their bloody attacks. You see, Iran has been a... I wrote a piece this morning on Substack about how Iran has contributed nothing good to the world in 47 years. They are nothing more than a putrid ball of hatred and violence. That's what that country has existed for. They are a dark spot on the world. They've only spread evil around the world. They have done it through their proxies around the world. Right now we have 1,700 Iranians welcomed in by Joe Biden, unvetted for criminality, unvetted for terror. So we've got likely cells here in the United States of America. Do you think they're just going to go away? Do you think they're just going to go away? Or was it about time we did something about it? The country of Iran has done nothing but spread evil for 47 years. And right now, that evil has had the brakes put on it. And I'll tell you, I know the American people are behind it. By the way, if you would have bought $20,000 worth of gold in 2006, it would be worth, as of yesterday, with the 33 ounces of gold, $175K. Because yesterday gold went up to $5,300, $300 away from its all-time high in January. Unbelievable. So 33 ounces of gold, $20,000, 2006, $175,000 as of yesterday. That's more than 40% per year, by the way. I did a little figuring and everything. I'm not real good at math, but that's pretty amazing. Did your 401k do that? No. Did your IRA do that? No. Maybe it's time to diversify. Maybe it's time you got some gold. Maybe it's time you texted my name, Rob, to 989898 for Birch Gold. They're the company that I trust. Why do I trust them? Well, they got my money. I don't just give my money to anybody. I mean, every month I do to my ex-wife, but that's court-ordered. You know, whatever. Anyway, actually, I volunteered it. I said, okay, I'll give you this. I know, I'm a sucker. Anyway, uncontested, said, okay, I'll pay you, whatever, who cares? Just, it'll enjoy your life. That said, I took what little left I have and I invested it in gold. With Birch Gold, an A+ rating from the BBB, tens of thousands of happy customers. Let Birch Gold help you diversify with gold. That, my friends, is peace of mind. Text Rob to 989898. Again, Rob to 989898 for Birch Gold. On the other side of the break, we've got lots more on the Operation Epic Fury. The View gets shredded by a couple of smart panelists, which isn't very hard. You don't have to be terribly smart. Jake Tapper was all butthurt that we killed 39 Iranian terrorist leaders. We've got that as well on the Rob Carson Show. Hour number 2 straight ahead. Don't go anywhere.
No blind rhetoric.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
I trust NEWSMAX. NEWSMAX.
They don't tell me how to think. They let me decide.
Real news for real people.
something now.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is hour number 2 of the Rob Carson Show. Hello, welcome to it. Glad to have you with us on radio stations around the country. Thank you very much, like WCBM in glorious Balmer, KSCO in Santa Cruz, KBQ in Albuquerque. Let's see, the Benny media stations all across New Hampshire. All over the place. Oh, my gosh. WGMD in lovely Rehoboth Beach up and down the East Coast. I'm hoping to get out there real soon once the weather warms up. I love it out there. Delaware. Delaware is Iowa meets the beach. If you ever get a chance to go, it's pretty amazing. You're driving along the highway. It's flat as a pancake. There's a chicken coop over here, a hog farrowing unit over here. Let's see, farmer's market here. And then the ocean. Oh, my God. Then the ocean. It's kind of a weird place, but it's pretty cool, too. So, anyway, welcome to all of our affiliate stations, hopefully adding more as the show continues to grow. And, of course, you streamers, you beautiful streamers on all of NEWSMAX social media, including my Rumbly-Roos, my YouTubers, my Facebookies, and my Xers. You guys are awesome. We've got great communities in all of those social media platforms, so it's pretty darn cool. And it's growing. It's growing by leaps and bounds because we're the only show in America who does comedy too. Just like I did for Rush, we do it here, and it's pretty darn fun. By the way, U.S. Supreme Court delivered a historic, groundbreaking victory for parental rights, dismantling California's secret gender transition regime, which is the most evil thing you could possibly imagine. I mean, of all the evil you could think of, like Dr. Evil, stroking his hairless cat in the belly of a volcano, couldn't come up with something more evil than, hey, let's secretly transgenderize children without telling their parents. And the Democrat Party thought that was cool. Okay, let's say it again. The Democrat Party in places like California said that if little girls aren't happy, just tell them they need to be little boys, and then give them a different identity, and then go to a doctor and get on puberty blockers, which block the natural process of puberty, then go into mutilative surgery and get a female circumcision, remove your healthy breast tissue, fashion a phallus from the sheath of the skin of your arm or leg, and dangle it between your legs like an ear waiting for transplant. But don't tell the parents about it. I mean, are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? Oh. Those who are made to believe absurdities will commit atrocities. And they did, and they did, and they did. But the Supreme Court has said, wow, that's super evil. Let's not do that anymore. Honestly, wow. One day we will look back at this chapter in history preceding the moment we're in right now, the last 4 or 5 years with Democrats and Joe Biden starting, 2018, 2019, and all of the friggin' madness and mania that we went through, all of the censorship, all of this. And we will look at it and go, seriously, WTF. Really, honestly, WTF. What in the hell were you thinking? But at least the Supreme Court has recognized that. We'll have more of that as the show progresses. We've been talking about the military Operation Epic Fury. We know now that the Ayatollah was killed in minutes, and 39 of his associates were killed in minutes. We know that millions and millions of Persians and Iranians danced in the streets in places like Canada and France and Paris and England and all of that, and Australia, for God's sake, and they danced with the Jews. They danced with Jews! Oh, my God! I thought Iran was Islamist. No. The Islamists have just occupied Iran for 47 years. And by the way, 2 generations of young women were raised in bondage. For all of you who, the United States is a slave nation. Yeah, it was 180 years ago, right? Yeah? How about the slavery of women in places like Iran that have gone on for 47 years? Can you imagine? Can you imagine being a Persian when the Ayatollah ushered in and said, you have to cover yourselves, and you cannot work, and you cannot show your faces, and you cannot be in public without a relative, and if you do, you will be beaten to death or imprisoned? Could you imagine 47 years of that? And yet The View can't even celebrate that. The View can't even celebrate something like that. The women of The View, for God's sake, can't even do that. Here is Liz Hasselbeck on The View yesterday trying to smack some sense into these ladies.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said that this is now the time for the Iranian people to stand and do what they need to do. And when when you look at what women looked like and were treated like, we have a before and after. Before this regime and after. This is before, and here's after. And right now, these women have hope. 47 million women have hope.
Amazing.
Women, people who are gay are not being thrown off buildings. Women will not be mutilated and murdered. And I think there's such hope, and it takes...
I'll bet you they won't even throw gays off the buildings anymore over there.
...strength to find peace, and America should be first at that always.
Well, here's the thing, though. I remember, and I hope you're right. I hope for the sake of the Iranian people and for the sake of...
I really don't think you do, because you're already saying that we shouldn't have gone in there, and you would have been perfectly fine leaving it right where it was. You would have been perfectly fine leaving it the way it was, because you don't care. Democrats just don't care. They would rather, we even heard, I think it might have been Adam Schiff, we shouldn't have killed the Ayatollah. Really? Really? Is this how far we have sunk, that we hate one man so much that we're willing to let 90 million people continue to live in bondage, and a nation that is known only for terror, exporting nothing but terror, and selling its oil to despotic regimes, communist regimes around the world, and using that money to pay their affiliates to go out and commit acts of terror? You would rather Donald Trump not get the... Donald Trump not get the credit, but you'd rather have people just remain in bondage. That's what the Democrat Party's saying, by the way. It is just remarkable. It is just remarkable. Carl Higbie, who is an American hero, he fought in the I guess you'd call it the Iraq War, the Afghanistan War. He special forces. I've talked to this guy before, and he killed a lot of bad guys. He kicked a lot of doors down, and he killed a lot of bad guys. And I said, do you have PTSD? And he goes, Rob, no. He goes, I was trained for this. This is what I did. I'm not trying to demean anybody who does have PTSD. Carl is just he is a remarkable man. Have you ever met this man? He is a brave man. He's a strong man, and I would rather listen to this guy any day than somebody like Anna Navarro over on The View, who has no clue, or Adam Schiff, or Chris Murphy, or Tucker Carlson. Here's Carl Higbie. Nobody, by the way, discusses the overwhelming force of the American military like Carl Higbie. I want you to listen to this from Newsmax last night. You're not going to find this anywhere else, not on Fox, not anywhere else.
By the way, all the Chinese air defenses were useless against our fighters and eliminated. And then we decapitated a regime that has been building for 50 years to fight the United States, and we did it in a weekend. This Ayatollah has been screaming about this kind of stuff for 40 years, and we killed him on day one of this campaign.
I know.
Say hi to Allah for me, dude. Remember when I told you last week that the three biggest air forces in the world, the U.S. Air Force, followed by the U.S. Army, then the U.S. Navy? Russia claims a bunch of planes, but they don't actually fly. So here's the deal to anyone who wants to pick a fight with the U.S.
Listen.
The United States of America has 13,043 active planes in our arsenal. We used 10% of them for this operation. Only 4 of our 20 B-2 Freedom Doritos, by the way. We had another 40% of our Air Force on standby. Just for comparison, Iran had 551. Most of them identify as were.
Yeah.
We used 2 carrier battle groups for this operation.
Identify as were. Oh, my God.
We have 11. We use less than 10% of our Navy to do this.
I know.
We didn't even need my people. Not one SEAL or Delta or Ranger or other SOCOM units were used.
And man, they would be crapping themselves if you showed up.
On the ground for this. Not one of nearly 500,000 Army soldiers hit the ground.
Nope.
Not one of nearly 200,000 Marines that, believe me right now, they are frothing at the mouth to get into this fight. Not one of the National Guard or Reserve troops had to be called that already wasn't on duty. We didn't even need to call the Coast Guard, which is good, by the way, thank God, because Democrats currently have DHS shut down on funding.
True. That's true. Yeah,
they don't have any money to do this.
That is true, yeah.
Not one of the 1.3 million troops that we have set foot in Iran for this op, and yet, in 48 hours, we did the equivalent of taking out their entire cabinet.
Yeah.
Their joint chiefs, gone.
Boom.
Their Pentagon, dust.
Boom.
Their White House, gone. 80% of their Air Force, sinking and disabling a quarter of their Navy.
Yeah.
Shutting off their internet, blocking satellite transmission. Then just for fun, we hacked their national TV network just to play Trump's speech about liberating Iran. Funny, also, too, all of a sudden, Russia wants to have conversations with us.
Weird.
Bet you China ain't feeling so good either.
No, not too much.
You see, peace is when you're capable of great violence and choose not to use it because no one else questions your ability, which is our goal.
Boom, Carl Higbie. Unbelievable. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
WCBM.
Have a little rejoin.
Rejoin. We love that.
One thing I would like to see updated is the word homeless to the word unhoused.
How about new?
I've been seeing that on news reports. They're still doing that nonsense. Unhoused. Really? I mean, honestly. Wow. I thought we were over that idiotic word replacement nonsense. The woke nonsense, but apparently not so much. Not so much with some news agencies. It's ridiculous. Fortunately, we have seen a lot of the death of woke, the rise of conservative comedy, the rise of political incorrectness again. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that with some comedians lately? It's very nice. There's a conservative comedian. I can't remember his name. He's rather rotund, and he got banned in Minneapolis. A big surprise. And who cares? I used to do stand up in Minneapolis at Acme Comedy Club before it went nuts. But it's nice to see that conservative comedy is on the ascension because the left can't be taken seriously anymore. That's really what it's all about. 71% of Americans agree with the SAVE Act. 71% of us want to know that our vote is going to matter and not be stolen because so many people know that Democrats have brought millions of illegals into the country, loaded them up with largesse to steal our votes. And everybody knows that our voting system is a joke. And you hear Democrats just immediately saying, there's no voter fraud. Really? Chicago is a punchline. It's been a punchline since Kennedy. All right? Philadelphia is a punchline, okay? Voter fraud is rampant in this country. I mean, and if you don't believe it, you're high. Ridiculous. 71% of Americans, 69% of independents, 50% of Democrats, big surprise, because they can't win on ideas, the Democrats. They can't. They've got to rig elections. They've got to gerrymander and all of that. By the way, the Supreme Court restored New York Republicans' congressional districts, so they weren't able to gerrymander and basically assure only Democrats were represented. The Supreme Court blocked a state judge from redrawing Nicole Maliotakis' congressional district, agreeing to her emergency request Monday to restore the lines that connect Staten Island and parts of Brooklyn. We're going to have Doug Burns on to talk more about this tomorrow. But these redistricting battles appear to be heading in our direction. They're trying to make Virginia represented by 9 Democrats and 1 Republican, even though more than half of the state is Republican, because of the psychotic, crazy cat lady who is the governor of the state of Virginia. Her name is Abigail Scamberger, and so there's going to be a referendum on that, and I have a good feeling that they're going to say to the Democrats, how about you stick it? Because you guys are insane, and we don't want to be represented by you. I did have something kind of funny here. The Iranian military. You remember when we went after Iraq, and we had Baghdad Bob, and there's nothing happening. We're winning. We're kicking America's butt, and all this. And this is what these Middle Eastern Islamist countries do. They're full of crap, and they're all puffed up, and they're very arrogant. You can hear it in their names because they got like 6 names. It's like I'm Abdullah Hamada Badiba Dabada Gibida Badika Badaka and there you go. It's like their name says arrogance, for God's sake. I mean, can you imagine trying to put that on a soccer jersey? But, they're full of hubris and full of arrogance. And this is a story about a couple of years ago, I guess, their big drone carrier. They had this drone carrier. So it's like an aircraft carrier, but it's a little bitty one for drones. And it's got this little ramp that kind of goes up so the drones can take off. And here's the story from a international news agency about the glorious drone carrier in the Iranian military.
In a ceremony steeped in military pageantry, Iran's Islamic Revolution Guards Corps commissioned this
You can almost hear their national anthem being played in kazoos.
maritime mammoth, the Shahid Bagheri drone carrier multi-mission vessel.
Converting a bulk carrier required completely re-engineering the superstructure. This accomplishment showcases our successful development of the indigenous
The supplies cost us 12,000 goats.
expertise required
We invested everything in it.
to execute such a complex conversion.
What began as a commercial vessel has been transformed through 2 years of
They
intensive
transferred. It was a commercial vessel, and they made it into an aircraft carrier.
retrofitting into what Iranian commanders now call a floating fortress.
That's a floating fortress. It's a commercial vessel.
Drones.
Okay.
Referring to this vessel
We are going to need a bigger boat.
as
I meant goat.
merely a drone carrier would be an understatement, as it serves a much broader role as a mobile command center that extends
Guess what about this boat? United States military sunk it.
Iran's military presence into international waters.
Yeah.
This versatile vessel is fully capable of conducting a wide array of
Including sinking.
military operations.
That's one of the big the things that we did. That was one of our operations. We sank to the bottom of the ocean.
which are not limited to deploying and operating aircraft.
Yeah, won't be doing that anymore because, the United States came in and kicked butt and took names, and most of those names just happen to be Mohammed. Here's Jim Gossett.
Hello, mullahs. They are pleading for Trump to stop their bleeding.
Drone carrier.
They are bombing Tehran daily. And we fear you if you are Israeli. Dearest Allah, darling mullah, how's my sister? How's Abdullah? America is coming for us. Though the staff at CNN, they still adore us.
Yeah, they do.
U.S. forces, there's no stopping. As the bombs continue dropping, we are frightened and is showing as our fear of destruction keeps on growing. Hello, Mullah. Hello, Fatwa. The water we're in is quite hot.
Oh, yeah.
USA is out to get us. We'll be in pieces like shredded lettuce.
Big time, yeah. Perfect for Taco Tuesday.
It looks like our demise has finally met us.
There you go. That is Jim Gossett. If you want to support him, go to patreon.com. Jim Gossett Comedy, by the way. Are you dealing with a slow computer? Most blame their device, but really the slowdown comes from heavy traditional antivirus programs that hog storage, drag everything down. WebRoot is cloud-based, engineered to stay out of your way, takes up 33 times less space than bulky competitors, scans 6 times faster, so instead of waiting around, you're getting instant, powerful protection without the lag, which is nice. And I get protected from stupid things. I mentioned this the other day. I got this, it's my account policy reference, and it even has an account number and everything on here, and it says my coverage period is January 1st of 2026 through the end of this year, and the amount is $610. And I'm like, oh, I got a policy and a policy number. I better send that money right away. What for what? There's nothing. It was crap. If you get this kind of nonsense in your mailbox, maybe you need WebRoot for a number of things. Then also all of the malware and all of the other nonsense. So whether you're working, browsing, or streaming, WebRoot is the antivirus that works well for you. And for a limited time, you could save 60% by going to webroot.com/Carson, webroot.com/Carson. I have it on this glorious PC that I had built here with 180 megs of RAM. Woo! It was fantastic. Gigs of RAM, I should say. But again, 60% off today when you go to webroot.com/Carson. That's web, R-O-O-T, root, of course, .com. Webroot.com/Carson. Just do that. I promise you're going to love it. It's a great antivirus program. Theo Wald, former Assistant Attorney General, joins us on the other side of the break to talk about Iraq and other things. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, mullahs. They are pleading for Trump to stop their bleeding. They are bombing Tehran daily. And we fear you if you are Israeli. Dearest Allah, darling mullah, how's my sister? How's Abdullah? America is coming for us. Though the staff at CNN, they still adore us. U.S. forces, there's no stopping. As the bombs continue dropping, we are frightened and is showing as our fear of destruction keeps on growing. Hello, mullah. Hello, fatwa. The water we're in is quite hot, USA is out to get us. We'll be in pieces like shredded lettuce. It looks like our demise has finally met us.
I understand, to your point here, that you don't want to broadcast everything for our adversaries to hear, but the American people also want to know what they're sending their men and women to war for. Is there a concern of this spiraling into a longer war, and then one for the chairman when you're done?
Did you not hear my remarks? To the media outlets and political left screaming endless wars, stop. This is not Iraq. This is not endless. I was there for both.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Our generation knows better, and so does this president.
That is Pete Hegseth yesterday fielding questions from reporters who are, I think, more against this conflict than any recent conflict. Even saying that only 25% of Americans support the conflict, which flies in the face of just polling about Donald Trump and the negatives of the Democrat Party, which is polling right above toenail fungus. Actually, I think right below toenail fungus. But anyway, to talk about this and much more, Theo Wold, former Assistant Attorney General, former White House Deputy Assistant for Domestic Policy, and current guest on this radio program. Theo, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, Rob. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm just trying to take this all in. Did you see today, the first 5 hours, they killed the Ayatollah and 38 of his henchmen. Then they get together yesterday, I guess, in another building to get the next Ayatollah in line, and they killed all of them. I'm thinking they need to get an Indeed.com ad. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think this is a great demonstration of some of the significant technological improvements that our military has seen over the past few years. Our targeting, our ability to build pattern of life, and the ability to execute with these really incredibly sophisticated munitions has no equal. It's really got no equal anywhere in the world. And so in this early stage of this conflict, I think the execution has been remarkable.
Well, you also look at what happened with the extraction of Maduro, how people they had no idea what was happening. They had never encountered anything like what they received. They said that they were bleeding out of their ears. They had no idea what was going on. So that was something completely different. That was an incursion into a military compound, brilliantly, by the way, executed. This obviously is much bigger. So that was a microcosm, I guess, of some of the tech that we have right now.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, and that's really been the open question for the past few years, especially with what we saw in the diminishment of defense spending under Obama, the shrinking of our military, whether it's ships on the line in the Navy under Biden. The question has never been, do we have the skilled men and women in uniform to execute these kinds of operations? The real question was, do they have the resources they need in order to succeed? And I think what we're seeing right now in Iran so far, and also in Venezuela, is the answer under Trump is affirmatively yes. We're rebuilding the defense industrial base. We're getting our men and women the tools and the tech that they need in order to do these highly sophisticated operations, whether it's the extraction of Maduro or whether it's the repeat targeting and annihilation of the senior leadership of the mullah regime in Iran.
I was talking to Brigadier General Blaine Holt earlier, and he said, unlike so many in the past where you have people like Jake Sullivan in the war room, Donald Trump is doing what people who are successful in business do, and that is surrounding himself with people who know what they're doing and giving them, getting advice from them and then letting them do what they're capable of doing. And that's what it sounds like they're doing here. They've uncuffed the military with these rules of engagement. They've said go in and do. Donald Trump is giving them orders, and they are able to fulfill those orders to their best of their ability.
Yeah, I mean, look, Rob, I think it's remarkable how successful the U.S. military can be when they're not hemmed in by political leadership that wants to dole out grift and favors to the D.C. elites, and whether it's in the legacy primes or the subcontractors. So that's one thing, right? You're not looking to profit off of war, just execute a mission. And then two, giving men and women in uniform, whether it's the general officers or the special forces on the ground, clear, easily understandable objectives. This is what victory looks like. It's not a prolonged conflict. We're not looking to rebuild this country or rebuild that political class over there. What we're doing is going in and achieving U.S. interests and then getting the heck out.
Well, there are those in the media who are playing up this, narrative that's gone on for the last 30 years in our country. When we were involved in Afghanistan, I had mentioned to Blaine Holt, what was our objective in year 12? What was our objective in year 14? It was nothing. We idled along. And then what was the objective of the withdrawal? Joe Biden had no objective with the withdrawal except for withdrawal. And so I would say for the first time, here's a president telling you, here's what I'm going to do. This is what I'm promising you. And I think the media is using that doubt from 20 years and several presidents of nonsense and indirection to project on this. And I think part of it is they hate Donald Trump and don't want him to succeed.
Yeah, I think that's right. And they're also, as you said, preying off of now what is a long-standing apprehension from the American people about prolonged conflict. Because, Rob, a lot of your listeners will remember this is the same kind of doom loop cycle the country was in during Vietnam and its immediate aftermath. What's the objective? How long are we staying? How many casualties are we going to sustain in service of what? The political elite of South Vietnam or of Afghanistan or of Iraq? So I think the American people are right to be apprehensive about foreign conflict. I'm a restrainer. I believe that U.S. force should only really be deployed when it has a clear, ascertainable objective that benefits the American people. And I think what the president is doing here is articulating there are some clear, obvious objectives that benefit not only the American people in the homeland, but Rob, as you remember, in the first couple of hours, the president said, as Secretary Rubio gave voice to in greater detail yesterday, if we didn't strike now, it was likely they were going to strike 4 deployed positions of U.S. servicemen in the Middle East throughout that entire region. So there are clear objectives here. I think what the American people want to hear is what's the strategy, what does victory look like, and how long is it going to take to achieve it, and how quickly can we get out?
It's interesting because I had heard between 120 and 180 attacks by Iran on our forces in the last 2 years, but we've been able to repel them. So it's not news. I mean, this has been going on for 47 damned years. I don't think you were probably born when the Ayatollah took over. I was in middle school, and we've endured this. And what has Iran given the world? What has Iran given the the world in the last 47 years other than terror and death, enriching itself by selling its oil to our enemies, and then hiring proxies to murder and destroy around the world. It is about damn time we remove this bloated tick from the world's back, to be quite honest. And I'm glad that Donald Trump is doing it.
Yeah, Rob, you mentioned something really crucial there, and it sort of confirms like the crazy code pink talking point, which is, it's all about oil. In many ways, it is, because Iran, it's over 70% of Iran's crude production was being sent overseas to China.
Yes.
And what President Trump has done now in Venezuela and with this operation in Iran is checkmate the Chinese appetite of consumption of these predatory third world, if you will, states that are just selling them crude upon crude deliveries. And so we've shut that pipeline down. So the conflict is we're in an era of great power conflict, and U.S. interests have to take into consideration these rogue states like Iran and their alliance with China. And I think the president is effectively articulating a sort of a macro global objective here, which is, yes, this is about Iran and what Iran has done to American citizens, tourists, service members, political officials, but also the alliance that Iran has with Russia, has with China, and how that affects U.S. interests, especially in the Pacific.
Yeah, Theo Wold, can you hold on? I want to talk to you on the other side of the break. You retweeted a post by Luke Rosiak about a D.C. area mosque that considered the Ayatollah their leader and had a memorial service. I wish I would have known this when it happened. I would have driven by and maybe played YMCA over the speakers in the Bronco. But I'd like to cover that on the other side of the break. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
talk about these situations like this that we are conducting, and you don't talk about the good work that they do to protect people from being victimized by people that are in this country that want to conduct violent crimes against them or take advantage of them. The laws need to apply to everyone, and we're out there enforcing the law.
I am a former prosecutor,
Context is
Ms. Noem,
incredibly important.
Have always
in every
worked
situation.
with our police well.
Yeah, there you go. That is Kristi Noem destroying Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota. The Democrat Party, ICE is the new police. The new police of 2020, the summer of love. They clearly are covering up something by demonizing people. They were covering up a number of things in the summer of 2020, including inner city crime, stirring things up in an election year. So they demonized the police. They just called the police, Nazis and whatever, and defunded them. Now they're doing the same thing to keep illegals in the country. ICE is suddenly Nazis. It really is. It's quite transparent if you're a thinking person. It really is. But that's Kristi Noem on Capitol Hill. I've been trying to keep that in the background because she's destroying some Democrats. Theo Wold, former Assistant Attorney General and former White House Deputy Assistant for Domestic Policy. Can you put that all on a business card? What do you have on your business card, Theo?
I have a husband and dad. That's my real job.
Oh, well, that usurps everything. I think it's probably the rest of that was a piece of cake compared to that, right?
That's exactly right. Especially, yeah, that's exactly right.
So I didn't realize this until yesterday when Luke Rosiak, brilliant, by the way, brilliant investigative reporter in the D.C. area, a D.C. area mosque in Manassas, Virginia, honored their leader, the Ali Khamenei, the Ayatollah, on Sunday. And I got to tell you, Islam uses the shield of a religion when actually they're a political movement, and that they would acknowledge this man as a leader. That mosque ought to be investigated.
Yeah, I mean, look, Rob, this is a sign of things to come. Look, as your listeners know, we have a very robust understanding of public discussion, of public debate under the First Amendment of the Constitution. But our First Amendment rights work because we're all sort of steeped in the same Anglo-American culture that no one here is actually actively trying to violently overthrow our government or fomenting support for foreign dictators. Unfortunately, now with the mass immigration we've seen of the past 30 years, we have whole pockets of this country that are dedicated not just to ideas that are deeply antithetical to the American constitutional tradition, but they're openly, actively raising money and creating political support for people like the Ayatollah. This isn't some kind of freak show mosque in Manassas. It's actually pretty much middle of the road. And that's going to be, as we see in Britain, as we see in Sweden, as we've seen in Germany, that's going to be a massive problem for the United States going forward.
We're going to have to figure out a way to drive radical Islam from our shores. That's all there is to it. There is a limit to First Amendment. If you use the church as a way to conceal your diabolical intention of overthrowing a society or overthrowing a government or usurping a constitution, it just can't happen. How do we get past, obviously, the First Amendment and the protection of religion versus insurrection? How do we get past that, do you suppose?
I mean, look, it's a tough question, Rob, and it's going to offend a lot of people who would otherwise be pretty sympathetic to some of our sort of our core principles as conservatives, as Republicans. But I think there's a lot here to sort of tease out about what political Islam stands for, and what it's doing. And one thing I'll just say to your listeners, if they're not following this, they should really take a look at the Green Party in Great Britain. And we can all laugh and joke about the Greens and their silly ideas, but the Green Party just picked up a by-election in England for essentially like a special election as we would have it in the House of Representatives. And what they did there is the Green Party is running on this idea of climate change and all of their usual sort of socialistic policies. But instead, underneath, it has essentially become the jihadist Islamic Party in Great Britain. The entire leadership of the Green Party is Muslim. Most of their candidates standing for office in local town councils, for parliament, are Muslim. And I think this is a sign of what we're going to see in the United States, is a forging of what they're calling the red for socialism and the green for political Islam.
That's what happened in Iran in 1979. That's what happened in Iran in 1979.
It's exactly right, Rob. It's exactly right. So we saw it in the Mondani election. We're seeing it now in Los Angeles with the Democratic Socialists of America's pronouncement of their 40 bullet points for how they want to take over the city. And so Americans need to have their head on a swivel going forward, which is Islam isn't, because the usual canard that like your normie voter will say is like, oh well, Islam hates gays, they hate women. No. The political alliance, they understand the pathway to power is through the left, is through suburban, white, college-educated women, and that is what they're forging in Austin, in Virginia, in New York. We're seeing it start to populate across the country.
And when they take over, and when they won, they will kill the useful idiots. That's what they will do. That's why radical Islamic clerics in New York could support supposedly pro-LGBTQIA+ Zoran Mandami, because he's Islamist first. New York City is Tehran in 1979.
Yeah, and you're seeing it everywhere, right? And what's the first thing that they announced this week under the new mayor? That they hired a former Hillary Clinton staffer, a Muslim woman, to spend public taxpayer dollars on redirecting the way that Muslims are portrayed in city government, in the Chamber of Commerces throughout the city, in the 5 boroughs. And so they want to change the public perception of Islam in New York. That's going to happen, as it's already happened in places in Michigan, and it's happening now in Texas. And the last part here, Robert, if I can say really quickly,
real quick.
The other issue that Americans are going to have to deal with, as is the case with that shooter in Austin, a Singalese man who, through a very weird process, came to achieve U.S. citizenship. He was a naturalized American, a quote American. His view wasn't, people talk about sleeper cells. There was no switch they flipped in Tehran to activate this guy. This guy just read the news and said, you know what, I really hate Americans and I hate America's foreign policy. That's going to be a recurring theme where we have people in our country now who are more interested in Somaliland, more interested in the affairs of Pakistan, more interested in what's going on, in Iran or Kuwait, and they're going to use American political power to influence our foreign policy, to influence our laws to benefit their home countries.
Well, it's time to... I've said that homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews need to come together and save our country, and I think we're going to do that. We got to do it. Theo, I appreciate you, man. Where can people find all your glorious work, bro?
I'm at Real Theo Wold on X, Instagram, Facebook, all that. So check me out there.
All right, brother. Thanks. I appreciate your time. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Hi, kids. How are you? Man, we got a lot of chatting going on. A lot of chatting going on. How are ya? Oh, look. Oh, that's my favorite. Melissa McGrain. Hello, Melissa McGrain. How you doing? Let's see. Pat Carr. What's going on? Oh, you're doing the inversion table again. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. It's better than a conversion table. I think they use those in radical Islam. America Marcy, all you guys over on YouTube, good to see you. Mickey Hastings. And, of course, Facebookies. My Facebookies, Greg and Prani and Carol. How's things, man? Woo, man, everybody is popping today. Everybody's busy online today. I love it. I love you're getting to know new people and all that. Anyway, I'm having fun. We got another hour of the show. What am I going to do here next? I got something here. It's probably going to be a short break. This last break's going to be short because we went a little long with Theo Wold. I enjoyed him, though. Did you enjoy Theo Wold? I thought Theo was good. They got together to choose another great leader. I'm downloading a couple videos here. We waited for them to hit us. All right. Okay. Anyway, another hour of the show. And we're going to get into that case from the Supreme Court about telling parents that they can't know that their children are being gender transitioned, among other things, next hour. Here we go. How much time we got, Brian? Probably not much. 2:20, my God. All right. Yeah, I know. That's good. He was good. I thought he was great. Here we go.
In the 25 years since 9/11, our country has done the unthinkable, which is open the floodgates to people coming here from predominantly Muslim countries where Islamists are able to carry out the Muslim Brotherhood's plan, which they put forward in a memo in 1991, that they've been carrying out to perfection, aligned with Keir, aligned with at least 600 groups operating in this country, including Texas. You now have 300 mosques in Texas, more mosques going in Texas every year than any other state in the union. They want to turn Texas into Paris, into the United Kingdom. And I ask you a question. Think about this. Are you as concerned as I am about a nuclear United Kingdom or a nuclear France? Like, we're worried about the president is fighting Iran, saying we can't have a nuclear Iran. I agree. God bless you, Mr. President. Let's stop it. But what are we going to do when you have an Islamic United Kingdom? They're already nuclear. What are we going to do when you have an Islamic France? We can't let that happen to America. They're trying to do it. They're exercising their playbook.
Homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews. That's why I came up with the expression. Because they were having pro-Islam protests at the site where 9/11 occurred in New York City. Anti-Israel protests. It's going to take homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews to kick some ass is what it's going to take. I'm not screwing around. Radical Islam is going to have to be driven from the shores. If you want to be peaceful Islam, that's great. You better start making some noise. You better start making some noise, peaceful Islam, because honestly, enough is enough. Donald Trump's doing it over the Middle East. He's cut the head off the snake in Iran, but the remnants of the snake are alive and well in America. And again, homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews, we're going to have to come together. We got 3 more years of a Trump presidency and hopefully 8 of a J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio presidency, maybe Vance Rubio presidency, to keep continuing kicking butt. But the tentacles are here, man. We're going to have to cut them off one at a time. How's that? Next hour, we're going to get into this U.S. Supreme Court telling California you can't gender transition kids, and Irina Zarutska happened in Northern Virginia, but nobody's talking about this woman who was murdered by an illegal at a bus stop. Coming up next hour, don't go anywhere.
on it now. You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show. Welcome to hour number 3. At the bottom of the hour, Hilary Fordwich, keynote speaker, GB News and Sky News and NEWSMAX contributor. She's always awesome. She's all Great Britain, by the way, and she's got some thoughts on Keir Starmer doing about face and trying to get on the good side of history with regard to allowing us to use their bases for operations for Iran. And here's the deal. It's because the United States is kicking butt so badly. So greatly, I should say. And now the rest of the world's going, oh, we better get on the right side of history because the Ayatollah's dead and 39 of his associates are dead. And then they met together to choose a new Ayatollah. And they got blown up. They got blown up. Oh, my God. It was just so funny. Even old Mark Carney of Canada is suddenly on the good side with the United States.
Canada's position on the developments in the Middle East remains clear.
Really?
The Islamic Republic of Iran is the principal source of instability and terror throughout the Middle East.
Yeah.
It has one of the world's worst human rights records.
That's true.
And must never be allowed to obtain or develop nuclear weapons.
Well, isn't that kind of what Donald Trump's been saying?
Canada and our international partners have called consistently upon the Iranian regime to end its nuclear
No, you haven't really, actually. No, we have.
program, including at the G7 summit in Kananaskis.
We had a big meeting on it. Woo!
And with the United Nations reimposition of sanctions this past September.
Well, they have a word for that, the United Nations sanctions. It starts with limp. And the second word starts with a D. So there, yeah, sure. Okay, whatever. United Nations. Woo. Wow. What did that do the last 47 years? Precisely nothing. But the rest of the world wants to get on board now because now they see victory is within hand, and they see that the Persian people are being freed. And I don't know, all the protests in places like Canada and France where the Persian people are out dancing with Jews going, hey, we're free. All right, and by the way, having peaceful protests where they appreciate the police and don't make a disaster out of the place and wreck things like the left does. So that's kind of cool. The View yesterday, they were being, dear God, just, I'm going to play a little bit of this and realize that you're going to lose a couple IQ points at the very beginning. But I think it's Elizabeth Hasselbeck. She redeems herself here and turns the discussion. Here is Anna Navarro talking about how Donald Trump, the reason why we're bombing Iran and killing the Ayatollah is to distract. He and Bibi Netanyahu are doing this to distract. My God.
I look at Donald Trump and I look at Netanyahu and I see two leaders who I think politically they benefit from war. Netanyahu is facing criminal charges for corruption.
Yeah, that's it.
Back home. Donald Trump.
Oh, we better bomb Iran then.
Is facing very low numbers and Epstein files that are not, and we will not.
Okay, real quick here. Bill Clinton yesterday when he was testifying, the video and the audio released of when he was called to testify about the Epstein files, and he completely exonerated Donald Trump.
I hate this, but because I don't believe I should inject anything. But I do.
It'll be the first time you haven't injected anything.
Not want to leave the impression, but since there was no follow-up question, the president never, this is 20-something years ago, never said anything to me to make me think he was involved in anything improper with regard to Epstein either. He just didn't. That's the truth. As I said earlier, the only conversation I had with President Trump about this was in the early 2000s. And I have no information that he did anything wrong.
There you go. So you're wrong again, Anna Navarro. My God, how did you get this job? Really, what did you have to do to become not only this, but also a panelist on CNN when you know so very little?
Go away.
I do think it's threefold. One, we have 47 million Iranian women who now have a hope of freedom. That's a good thing. Okay,
Elizabeth Hasselbeck, she has a brain.
disgusting, disgusting terrorist regime ended. And the people finally...
No, it was all about distracting from Epstein, where there's no proof that Donald Trump did anything. He's been completely exonerated. Okay, whatever. And here is Sarah Haynes jumping in because, what was it? The Sunshine, what the hell her name is. Anyway, one of the other idiots on The View, one of the other harpies from Al on The View, saying that Donald Trump didn't get any congressional approval.
This is an unconstitutional war. It's an illegal
Sonny Hostin, my God.
war. He didn't go to Congress. He didn't go to the UN. He didn't go before the American people. And that's why at this point, 27% of Americans, only 27%.
Yeah, but that's a bullfishing is what I said. Woo! That's a BS poll.
Of Americans approve of these actions. And I don't have any confidence that Donald Trump has any sort of plan.
Well, because you hate him.
And maybe he has concepts of a plan, but he does not have any.
Do you have a plan when you start off on some sort of jag? Because honestly, you never get to a finish line with your thoughts. You should have a plan when you open your damn mouth.
Just to mention the other presidents that have gone in without congressional approval are Biden, Obama, Clinton, George H.W. Reagan. So I would be more upset
Kennedy.
that Congress has ceded this power
Eisenhower.
than mad that the president didn't check with Congress.
It's just so utterly ridiculous. Here's Mark Wayne Mullen talking about all the bombs Obama dropped.
For him saying anything in 2016 when Barack Obama at the time dropped 26,000 bombs in Syria,
that's a lot.
Pakistan, Libya, just to name
what sort of national interest do we have there? What sort of threat did Libya pose us?
A few. And I definitely don't remember my colleagues.
What about Syria? What sort of threat did they pose?
In 2013 at all complaining about the president then Barack Obama, going into Syria. And I would like to ask the question then, what threat did Syria have to the United States?
None.
What threat did Libya have to the United States during the Arab Spring, to which these leaders were removed? Does anybody doubt on that side of the aisle, does anybody doubt that Iran, if or when they got a nuclear weapon, would deliver it to the United States if they have the capability of doing it? Does anybody deny?
You see, this is about elimination of the status quo, 47 years of nonsense that has been going on forever. And how long are you just going to sit around and have meetings about it and watch Americans die? Well, finally, that day has come where that nonsense is finally ended, and I'm glad for it. I am bloody happy about it, to be quite honest. Oh, by the way, I would be remiss if I didn't play a little bit of the testimony with Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. Here is, and I just one thought came to mind when I heard her testify. I don't think that Bill Clinton needs to be pardoned at this point because he's been married to her for like 50 years. I think he served his time, to be quite honest.
Given that we have asked for a public hearing, if there are
Here she is storming out because somebody took a picture of her.
Photos that are being released of the secretary.
I didn't know she showed up on film. Her reflection doesn't appear in a mirror.
She is testifying. Can you please explain how that
I'm done with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done.
I am looking for my excuse to get the hell out of here.
You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go off the record.
Oh, for heaven's
So I would like
sake.
to
Oh, her heavens to Betsy.
understand how that's permissible.
Before the hearing was.
It doesn't
Excuse
matter.
me.
We all are abiding by the same rules.
What difference does it make?
Yeah, well.
I would like to take a break at this moment.
Yeah,
I'd like to have.
I'm out of here. Here she is fighting with Nancy Mace. This was just kind of fun. I'm playing this apropos of nothing. I just like Hillary Clinton getting a little what fur.
That's the question. I'm going to answer your question.
Now you're gonna yell
This
at
was
me?
what I spent
You're
my
going to yell at
time
me.
doing.
I'm a survivor trying to look out for other survivors trying to.
There was the time when you did not want to confront Hillary Clinton like this because you might end up dead or something.
It was taking
What?
care of
waited
the
6
people
months
who
to
lost
get here today.
3,000
6 months,
lives
and now you're being
at World
defiant
Trade
and
Center.
indignant today.
You've never said a thing about the World Trade Center deaths.
Ask me.
Until
I
yesterday.
have met
Howard
with
Lutnick.
Epstein survivors. I'm a survivor myself. You have emails. You've denied that that you tried to get Jeffrey Epstein to give money to you.
I did
but
not.
Howard Lutnick was
If
used
you
to
have an
get
email
money.
with me asking Jeffrey
I
Epstein
have
for
an
money.
email from Howard Lutnick sending it to.
Well, I don't have any emails because you destroyed them all. I don't even remember that. You destroyed like 36,000 emails. Of course we don't have an email because you destroyed them all. You told everybody to bleach bit their their technology and destroy with ball-peen hammers all the phones and everything. You destroyed all the emails. Of course we don't have emails.
Jeffrey Epstein and his people to raise money for you.
I don't know about
Show me an email that I didn't destroy. Oh, my God. Yeah, of course we can't show you an email because you destroyed all of them. Oh, anyway, here she is. Oh, man, this is good. This is her. And it's kind of funny because Bill Clinton's kind of known for this kind of stuff. And here is her being asked about what she thought about pictures of old Willie getting massages from girls and being in a hot tub.
When you saw photos of your husband in a hot tub laying on a beach and getting massaged by other women, and you knew that Jeffrey Epstein was involved in some of these trips and these things, did it concern you at all?
No, I've seen him before. Actually, I was there.
I'm here not to offer my opinions. I'm here
I was on the beach
to answer specific questions to the best of my ability.
When you saw your husband in these photos with a young woman being massaged, what went through your mind?
Oh, I've seen this before. Hell, it happened in the White House.
I am not going to speculate.
You didn't have any feelings.
Why is the Oval Office door locked again? Gosh darn it.
About young women
Willie!
Massaging your husband.
Willie!
I am not going to offer opinions or speculation
Because it's really not a big surprise.
about anything that I have no context for and was not there.
Well, that's just fun. So there you go. I wanted to play a little bit of that. Did we learn anything yesterday? No, not particularly, but it was kind of fun to watch. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Free in libs' heads I'm living, the fits I am giving to Whoopi, Sonny, and Joy. Rent free, I'm occupying. Rosie is lying. She says I'm not in her head. Break free, they simply can't do it. When you get down to it, they have TDS real bad. Hatred, just watch it as it spreads, because inside their heads I live. Rent free.
SOS for real change.
Further, yeah, it's going way better, way better than anybody could ever even possibly understand. Just got done reading a message right before I came on the show that said that there was over 1,000 sorties within the first 24 hours, and it's going to take way longer than people realize to actually understand the effects that we're having on the battleground over inside of Iran right now. Their state media has been knocked out. All of the leadership, all of the key leadership of the IRGC has been taken out. The Ayatollah, something that everybody thought would just never happen. We ended up killing the Ayatollah, and I'll tell you, as a veteran of Operation Iraqi Freedom, I couldn't be more proud to see that man get killed along with his entire regime, because you're talking 1 out of every 5 U.S. troops that ended up getting wounded or killed over inside the Middle East was the direct result of them. And I am so happy to be on a program that properly painted this correct, stating that for the first time we are actually ending something that's been 47 years in the making.
There you go. That is Matt Tardio on Grant Stinsfield shows. Grant is a friend of mine, and that puts it in perspective. Somebody who served in the Middle East and was subjected to some of the violence caused by radical Islam, and of course paid for by the Ayatollah in the country of Iran. And he's of course no longer in control. So yeah, he's dead. Yay, he's dead. Woohoo! Yippee skippy. It's awesome, and we should be celebrating it, but the Democrat Party hates Donald Trump so much that they can't, they would rather have a murderous monster in charge who's resulted in the death of hundreds of thousands around the world and thousands of Americans. They would rather have him still be in power than Donald Trump getting any credit for changing the world. So there is that. You know the story of Irina Zarutska. Her mother was at the State of the Union. Donald Trump asked her to stand. She was murdered in Charlotte on a train by an illegal alien. Well, the same thing happened in Northern Virginia, where I live. Stephanie Minter was stabbed to death at a bus stop allegedly by Abdul Jolo, who's in our country illegally. She was 41 years old. This is a local report on ABC 7 about the story.
A Virginia woman was killed at a Fairfax County bus stop. We're learning the man charged in her murder is in the U.S. illegally. His name is Abdul Jallo from Sierra Leone, according to the Department of Homeland Security. I'm at the Fairfax County Courthouse where I discovered this man has a lengthy criminal history. More than 40 charges in the past, ranging from stabbings to malicious wounding and much more. And almost every case, Fairfax County Commonwealth's Attorney Steve Toscano dropped charges against this man. Only secured one conviction in the past. He served very little time. He was let back out into the community, where then he allegedly stabbed this woman of Fredericksburg. Now, this woman's family is heartbroken. According to an obituary, her family describes this woman, Stephanie Minter, as a jolly, happy individual, a light in dark places. And tonight, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security is calling on Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger and Fairfax County officials to hand this man over to ICE so they can deport him.
And of course, Abigail Spanberger is fighting because she is asking Virginia officials to not cooperate with ICE. She is making Virginia into a sanctuary state. She's a bat guano crazy liar, by the way, lied about her intentions to get elected, lied about being a moderate, and has ushered in a new era of green energy nonsense, of open border nonsense, and she should be recalled. I'm not kidding. And I would suggest that you Republicans in the state get off your rear ends about the possibility of recalling this wretched woman, because so many people felt either completely abandoned and ignored and lied to by her. Abigail Spanberger's office has released a statement saying they still will not honor an ICE detainer against the illegal alien with 30 prior arrests who murdered 41-year-old Stephanie Minter in Fairfax last week. Instead, they demand that ICE receive a signed judicial warrant before they'll turn him over to the feds. The problem with that is ICE can only get a judicial warrant if an illegal alien is being invested or commits a federal crime. This means that Abigail Spanberger is literally giving illegal illegal aliens permission to commit more violent crimes against Virginians before she will work with the feds to deport them, because she's an evil, crazy, cat lady communist. Here is another story about the Minter killing in Northern Virginia.
First responders arriving at a Richmond Highway bus stop, finding the victim of a stabbing.
A female unresponsive. There seems to be a cut. She's not breathing. Unresponsive. There's blood all over her.
41-year-old Stephanie Minter died from her injuries. Her family just posting this obituary, describing her as, quote, a beam of light in dark places. Charged in her killing, 32-year-old Abdul Jalloh, already well known to police and prosecutors. Court records.
Why in the hell was he still in the country?
So the unhoused man had a reputation for
unhoused. He's not homeless. He's unhoused.
Violence, an alleged rape in 2018, then a series of 4 alleged stabbings, and more recently, before the alleged murder, 2 alleged assaults. But only once was Jalloh convicted and sent to prison. In February of 2023, he stabbed a 73-year-old man so forcefully the blade broke off the knife. He pleaded guilty to malicious wounding and was sentenced to serve 2 years with 5 years of time suspended. Then Monday night, another stabbing. Police say it's at least the 5th tied to Jalloh, and this time a woman was dead. Virginia's former attorney general on social media blasting what he called catch and release policy.
Yeah, this is liberalism. This is the Democrat Party. And it's a damned shame that this sort of nonsense still exists in states like Virginia and New Jersey with their bat guano crazy white liberal cat lady governor up there. Unbelievable. Honestly, unbelievable. And I would recommend we get started on a recall petition against this woman, because she lied about who she was to get elected. The Democrat Party in the state of Virginia lied about their platform, got her in office, and unveiled all of this Zambandami-esque nonsense in a state that is known for liberty, a state that had a $2.3 billion surplus, and yet they just have added about 70 new taxes on people, insane taxes on the delivery of items from Amazon, on getting your dog groomed, on a host of things that are nonsensical. Green energy idiocy that has been proven to be wrong. And the state of Virginia is a pinprick on the planet. So having an electric leaf blower versus a gas leaf blower means nothing. It's just a matter of control and taxation. That's the problem. And Virginia is going to fall unless we do something about it. And people are going to start leaving the state of Virginia, like they're leaving so many other Democrat enclaves, like California, like New York City. Boeing has already left Virginia. They're going to St. Louis, and you can expect a flood of people to leave this state, including yours truly. I have no ties to this state. I just moved here 6 months ago, expecting the state that I had seen for so many years from across the river in Maryland, enviously going, I wish I would have moved there in the first place. Now, not so much. West Virginia is paying people to move there. Might consider doing that. Harper's Ferry is very lovely this time of year. It's a little ways away from here, but it's not that far away. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, so Hilary Fordwich joins us next to talk about the flip-flop, the turnaround by soy boy Keir Starmer with regard to allowing our planes to take off from Great Britain's air bases as we kick Iran's butt. That's on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere.
Updates, info, and commentary from Stan the Fan Charles, Glenn Clark, and others at PressBoxOnline.com.
Fired up, Davey! We're fired up!
PressBox Sports, your source for Oregon.
If you're illegal alien in the United States, this message is for you. You cannot hide from ICE.
Avoiding ICE ain't easy. Illegals are so sleazy. Tom Holman set them straight. To ICE should be reporting. You should be self-deporting. Leaving will be your fate. Back home is where you're headed. That's safe to say. And you won't make a stop along the way. No longer catch.
The United Kingdom played no role in these strikes, but we have long been clear. The regime in Iran is utterly abhorrent. They have murdered thousands of their own people, brutally crushed dissent.
That is Keir Starmer over the weekend saying, making clear that we had nothing to do with the raid of Iran and the bombing of Iran, but we've always hated Iran. Straddling the fence like a good, I don't even know what to call him, to be quite honest. I use the word soy boy. I don't know if soy boy fits in Great Britain. But joining us to discuss this is Hilary Fordwich, keynote speaker, NEWSMAX contributor, GB News contributor, Sky News contributor, friend of the show. Hello, Hilary. How are you on this glorious Tuesday?
Well, good afternoon. I have to say, Rob, thank you for having me back again.
I was always very proud to be British born. I'm an American by choice, but I'm very proud of both. I can't remember a time where I felt actually, it's very tough to say, ashamed of the nation where I was born. And when President Trump said that he's no Winston Churchill, I have to say that I feel that Margaret Thatcher would be rolling around in her grave right now.
Yeah, and now I had heard that Starmer has kind of done a pivot in some, I guess, British planes have intercepted some Iranian sorties of some type, but it sounds like he and Macron, who are wimps, I would just say wimps, I'll put it kindly, have decided to be on the right side of history, at least to some degree, now that it becomes more apparent that we've done substantial damage and are well on the way to hopefully our objective of changing Iran and freeing its people. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think you're right. I will always say about Sir Keir Starmer that if you disagree with one of his policies, it's rather like the wind. Just wait a few minutes and it'll change direction. He does these U-turns. He's done numerous U-turns. I think they counted them up in England. I think it's something like 22 U-turns, like direct U-turns on policies, which have drastically affected and basically denigrated the UK. I find it rather fascinating watching him because he's immensely articulate while being extremely wishy-washy, feeble and feckless at the same time. But what it all comes down to is, like all politicians really, pandering to his base, and unfortunately his base now is very much in the UK, a Muslim base where you have every major UK city has a Muslim mayor. And one of the things that Winston Churchill said about democracy is it's not a good form. Your persuasion with your beliefs and your background and your religion, etc., then they're just going to vote. And look what's happening in Texas. I mean, there are mosques being built everywhere. I assume they go to Texas because it's like a climate like the Middle East, dry and sandy and desert-like. But we're seeing this in certain parts of America at the same time. And as I've always said, it's just a numbers game. It's mathematics.
Yes.
Because Muslim people breed 8 to 1, and white Christian people in the U.S., in Western Europe, are breeding 1.5.
Yes.
So that is the loss of society.
So a few things have happened. Obviously, this Iran strike has taken Prince Andrew off the front pages, taken off the royal family off the front pages, and all of that. But all of that is still an undercurrent. And we were talking just a week ago about Starmer's, his leadership on the brink and the possibility of change of the guard over there. What is going on with regard to that?
I would say that there is such dissatisfaction with Sir Keir Starmer. There is a recent what's called a by-election in the UK, and it's called Gorton. It's in the north, and what happened was they rejected the Conservative Party, they rejected the Labour Party. So in the UK, the Labour Party is closely analogous, really, with the Democratic Party. They're the left-leaning party, more for unions and more, very woke. And then the Conservative Party is more like our Republican Party. But they rejected both parties and went with a Green Party that actually was putting out advertisements in Urdu, and the language of Pakistan. And people with Pakistani passports that aren't English-born, British-born with a British passport were voting, and they were doing what is called family voting, where the husband would take in his wife because she wasn't allowed to be alone or make any decisions for herself, taking in with his Pakistani passport his Pakistani wife, and they were both voting, so it was two, and he was telling her what to vote. And this was one of the things that was happening, as well as mail-in voting in the UK was always restricted, or intended, I should say, and really basically restricted to handicapped and elderly people. But they had extensive mail-in voting. So like we've had these voter issues in the United States, Nigel Farage has been saying that he wants the vote investigated.
Of course. So this is basically what they did in 2020 here. This is where they've done. This is what they've done in other places. So does this put the kibosh on Farage becoming the prime minister?
I don't know that it It does, but it certainly is shaky because unfortunately now what's happened, it's a blessing and a curse. What's happened with the Reform Party, which is what Nigel Farage heads up, is that, I actually thought it was a good thing that a lot of conservative MPs, meaning members of parliament, which would be analogous for our audience, like a congressman or a senator, where they were leaving, defecting from the Conservative Party, which would be like our Republican Party, and going to the Reform Party. But that has left a lot of these candidates that were standing up for reform disaffected. Why? They were local people who were totally disenchanted with the Conservative Party, totally disenchanted with the Labour Party, and they were giving up their daily jobs and or working very, very hard, funding their own campaigns, doing everything, standing, being elected. And then when a Conservative member of Parliament would say, I'm going to defect, these local people that have given up all their time and their personal money to stand and been elected were sort of bumped, and the Reform Party is absorbing all these Conservative MPs. So now you're finding, and it's very sad, I think, to see this basically all this right-leaning vote disaffected. Why? Because they feel that now, if all the Conservatives that failed as the Conservative Party are coming over to reform, are we just the party of the failed party?
Wow.
So I think it's going to probably, I'm not saying that probably, I feel like it's going to dilute the power of what reform was.
Wow.
And on the other hand, the criticism of reform was, well, they don't have the experience, and you do have experienced MPs. The question is, do you want an MP that was experienced at running the country into the ground? That's the question.
Wow, unbelievable. And these are treacherous times. Do you suppose that the reason why Starmer is on board with the epic fury is because he wants to try to not only, I guess, wag the dog to some degree without being a part of the dog, and to gain favor with the international community and those who despise him?
Well, you've actually nailed it, because he's trying to walk this very difficult fine line, not alienating the Muslim base, which is now, supports his party, the Labour Party. He doesn't want to alienate his base. He doesn't want them to be disaffected. And yet, he's got to keep everybody else on sides. And he's trying to, I think, he's navigating this line. I'll tell you who is coming out really in great support of President Trump and us and our endeavors and what we're trying to do in Iran is Mark Rutte, who is the former Prime Minister of the Netherlands, who's now the head of the EU.
Love him.
I was in Holland. I lived there for 3 years. I headed global business development for KPMG worldwide. And Mark Rutte is very smart, very talented, basically an intellect too. He ran a coalition government. And unfortunately, a lot of these European countries now, with their Muslim base, with their, cultural diaspora, I guess you would call it, he's learned how to navigate that, and he has remained firmly, though, on sides with the U.S., and I think that's what Keir Starmer is trying to do, is follow that. Now, basically, the UK is in the position of following the EU's lead, which is rather amazing. And last but not least, Rob, I think what we're seeing, all of us,
real quick,
here in America, we're seeing a change in the world order.
Yes.
Who would have ever predicted that you would see Iranian people, including all the women that took off their hijabs and had the courage to burn them in the fire, partying at the same time with Israelis, partying on a night celebrating.
Can we hold? I want to hold this, Hilary. I want to hold on to the break here because I want to talk a little bit more about the female aspect of this and how gigantic it is and how the left is ignoring it. Let's take a break and come back. A little bit more from Hilary Fordwich on the other side of the break. This is the Rob Carson Show. absolute slaves for the last 47 years. A couple of generations of women raised and had to survive absolute subjugation. And it's amazing the left can't celebrate this, isn't it, Hilary Fordwich?
Yes, you're absolutely right, because, Rob, I always think it's one thing if somebody has different beliefs and, values than you or me. If you have different beliefs, okay, stick to your values. What I can't stand, and I actually have no tolerance for, is hypocrisy.
Yes.
If you're for women's rights and you're, somebody who's always stood up for women's rights and you're a feminist, why aren't you celebrating? Why aren't all these left women, all these liberal women all across America out celebrating that these brave Iranian women, as I mentioned before, taking off their hijabs and throwing them in the fire and actually wearing makeup, knowing that previously their faces had been slashed by Khomeini's guard? And why aren't they supporting these Iranian women? And by the way, the regime had killed over, I think it's 5,793 gays. Why isn't the gay community coming out and the LGBTQTPS community coming out?
Because, Hilary, if they didn't care about men becoming women and destroying the lives of little girls, why the hell would they care about women, in Iran? It's the same pathos. It's the same nonsense. Listen. But let me tell you, listen to this. When you talk about transgenderizing girls, you're telling girls that they would be better off as boys, and you're doing the same crap they do to girls in sub-Saharan Africa. You're doing female circumcision and breast binding. It's the same damned thing. They don't care about women. They don't care about women. Politics is number one.
That's exactly right. And I find that hypocrisy really pitiful, and also the selective moral outrage. But what I was going to mention is in terms of what we're seeing in our lifetime, Rob, I believe, is a global shift. Who would have ever predicted that Arab nations would actually be supportive of Israel?
Yes.
Iran they must be out of their minds to be bombing Dubai and Dubai Airport and Dubai hotels.
Yes.
They actually bombed the Fairmont Hotel in Dubai, which actually they said something about, well, this is the Iranians. Well, there's U.S. government personnel there. By the way, news item, newsflash, it's way beyond the budget of anything the government pays for. So they don't even know what they're talking about. I think it's hypocrisy, and they obviously are just randomly lashing out.
We are looking at, of course, because they are realizing they're doing a death spiral into hell, like the Democrat Party is doing, by the way, in this country. And we're seeing a millennial shift in this country. Unfortunately, Great Britain is still kind of hosed. Fortunately, Donald Trump is cutting the head off of Iran. It's going to shift everything. It's going to change everything in the Middle East. We're going to see peace in the Middle East. We're going to see China, their ambitions for taking Taiwan going to fade. Russia is going to become less of a superpower. We're seeing a millennial shift. We're seeing, and I said this, if Donald Trump was going to be the president, freedom and prosperity spreading around the world. I hope it's not too late for Great Britain. I hope it's not too late for France. Thankfully, Italy, Poland, Turkey have already pulled their asses out of the fire. In closing, what do you think is going to save Great Britain?
Well, I hope there's something. I thought it was going to be Nigel Farage. I just hope it is Nigel Farage.
Me too.
But I'm seeing this, as I mentioned, this dilution on the right with the Reform Party at the moment, and didn't do well, as I mentioned, in that recent by-election. I hope it's anybody, actually. It's Nigel Farage, or it's a party that, like President Trump, will stand up for the cultural values that have been historically the British heritage. And that could be people of color, it can be people of a different nation and a different religion, if they choose to assimilate, which they haven't.
Well, I appreciate you being on the show today, Hilary. As always, it's excellent to have you here. And, of course, you're on Twitter at Fordwich Hilary. By the way, Fordwich Hilary, I'll repost on social media. Where else can people find you?
Oh, yes, and I have a YouTube channel, and I'm on LinkedIn. And, Rob, thank you so much for having me. Really smashing of you. Thank you.
All right, let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show. Hilary is a really cool person. I just want to tell you on a personal note. I met her when I moved here, and she is a brilliant speaker, and she's a real pleasure to know. She just is. I think she's pretty cool. Pretty a cool person. There you go. What are we going to wrap things up with here? And look at all the people. My God, you guys are fantastic. Dookie Bear, Melissa McGloin. A lot of people talking today. You guys have had a hell of a conversation, haven't you? Haven't you had a great conversation? For those who haven't heard, the bus ride we're doing to Gettysburg from Baltimore, we had a bus and a luxury coach filled with people to go with me to Gettysburg on June the 11th and back, and we got another bus because the first one sold out in 5 days. The second bus sold out in 3. It sold out even faster. But we're working on doing a trip to D.C., hopefully in October. And I'm going to take time off to be with you. If you guys decide you want to come in when we announce it, come and visit me in D.C. I'm going to take some time off to spend time with you guys and show you around. Show you around. Got the room on the roof. I don't have any room on the roof. It's not one of those double-decker bus tours. It's not one of those. Sorry, Sport Tech. It's not. But maybe look at October for the trip. Okay. Think about it, okay? I'd love to meet you guys. I mean, listen, I see you every day. I know you're there. I've already met some of you. We're in this together, so I'm really proud to be a part of it. I'm glad we've come together in this time. Great things are going to happen. Here we go. What are we going to do next? Oh, I want to play Higbie. Higbie.
About 4:15.
Okay. All right, so Ken, my producer, Redneck MacGyver, said I got to play Carl Higbie again because what he said was so brilliant. For all you naysayers who, 27% of people support the Iranian mission. Bullcrap. It's a lot higher than that. We're proud of our military and we love it when it kicks ass. Here is Carl Higbie putting it in perspective on NEWSMAX. Thank you.
And then we decapitated a regime that has been building for 50 years to fight the United States, and we did it in a weekend. This Ayatollah has been screaming about this kind of stuff for 40 years, and we killed him on day 1 of this campaign.
Yeah.
Say hi to Allah for me, dude. Remember when I told you last week that the 3 biggest air forces in the world, the U.S. Air Force, followed by the U.S. Army, then the U.S. Navy? Russia claims a bunch of planes, but they don't actually fly.
Listen.
So here's the deal to anyone who wants to pick a fight with the U.S. The United States of America has 13,043 active planes in our arsenal. We used 10% of them for this operation. Only 4 of our 20 B-2 Freedom Doritos, by the way. We had another 40% of our Air Force on standby.
He calls the B-2 a Freedom Burrito because it looks like, or Dorito because it looks like a Dorito. There.
Just for comparison, Iran had 551. Most of them identify as were. We used 2 carrier battle groups for this operation. We have 11.
Woo.
We use less than 10% of our Navy to do this. We didn't even need my people. Not one SEAL or Delta or Ranger or other SOCOM units were used on the ground for this. Not one of nearly 500,000 Army soldiers hit the ground. Not one of nearly 200,000 Marines that, believe me right now, they are frothing at the mouth to get into this fight. Not one of the National Guard or Reserve troops had to be called that already wasn't on duty. We didn't even need to call the Coast Guard, which is good, by the way, thank God, because Democrats currently have DHS shut down on funding,
that's true.
They don't have any money to do this. Not one of the 1.3 million troops that we have set foot in Iran for this op, and yet, in 48 hours, we did the equivalent of taking out their entire cabinet. Their Joint Chiefs, gone. Their Pentagon, dust. Their White House, gone. 80% of their Air Force, sinking and disabling a quarter of their Navy. Shutting off their internet, blocking satellite transmission. Then just for fun, we hacked their national TV networks just to play Trump's speech about liberating Iran.
Unbelievable. Carl Higbie, an American hero. An American hero. That is fantastic. Check the podcast out if you want to hear that again and share it, okay? By the way, 2006, $20,000 could buy you 33 ounces of gold at spot price. Yesterday, at a price of $5,300 an ounce, that was $175,000. Your $20,000 investment in 2006, $175,000 yesterday. That's over 40% per year. You need to diversify your portfolio. Birch Gold is the way to do it. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered retirement account in gold. Text my name, Rob, to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. No obligation, just information. A-plus rating from the BBB. Tens of thousands of happy customers. Let Birch Gold help you diversify with gold. If you had $20,000 and you invested in it in 2006, is it worth $175,000? Most probably not. Maybe it's time you did something about it. It's down a little bit today. Get on the gold bandwagon. Text my name, Rob, to 989898. Rob to 989898. Stay positive. Overwhelm the left with joy and patriotism. I will handle the mockery, ridicule, and satire. Let Donald Trump take care of the butt kicking, and that's what we're doing. Iran's going to fire back. They are fighting back. But we are witnessing history. We are witnessing the yin to the yin. We are witnessing karma. We are witnessing the reaction to the action of evil. God willing, God bless you. America has founded Donald Trump, the people of Persia, our troops. And until tomorrow, which is Wednesday, do not catch the stupid. I'll see you then.
All right, Robbie, have a good night.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is NEWSMAX. It's real news for real.